Yo, 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 yo to the people, man. Welcome in, welcome in. Today is the first day of the actual NBA shows that I'm gonna be doing throughout the season. I announced early on Twitter that I'm partnering with Forever Network as well, the basketball Forever Basketball Network. To kind of talk through and go through and actually create a podcast on a weekly basis. It's gonna be up to 3 episodes a week where I kind of recap the games. So I'll get into a little bit more of that, but with no further ado, I got to introduce my guy, man. Zay the Goat. We kind of ran into each other last year. He was hosting Twitter Spaces. I was hosting Twitter Spaces. I remember, before I even heard about Zay, he was already kind of being promoted by some of the heavy hitters that were in the gambling Twitter space. So we kind of rubbed elbows, rubbed shoulders. I remember. I don't know if you remember this Zay, but I remember a couple times you actually got we got mentioned together. Like, yo, y'all need to
Yeah,
do a space together. You remember?
yeah,
You remember them joints? Eh? So
yeah. And
yeah. So
that was before we even linked up. Yeah, I
right,
remember.
right, right,
Yeah,
right. We ain't like, yeah. I ain't know nothing about you, but yeah, you ain't know nothing about me. But yeah, we both we in the sports betting space specifically. Both our sports is NBA basketball, man. So I'm excited to have you on. If you don't know, check Zay out, Zay the Goat. Just at Zay the Goat on Twitter. Check him out. His name is similar as it is in his as you see it on the screen right there. So definitely give my guy a follow. Zay has a Discord as well. Super cheap Discord. Caps a lot of player props. Does his thing. And we'll get into that. We'll get into that. But welcome on, Zay. I appreciate you being here, bro.
I appreciate you having me, man. I appreciate this. The gambling community definitely needs this space. Definitely needs more of this conversation. Whether it's not even just NBA, it could be MLB, NFL, NHL. You know what I mean? Just this space to have is just a great space. People want to hear stuff. So
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. So with no further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it, Zay. Let's get into it. Let me see if I can get my banners to come up. So this is oh, there we go. Oh, we in good money. Good money. Okay. So
yeah,
let's start off. Let's start off with what we see there, Zay. So important to units management. You are a guy that preaches it, I know, of course, but you're also a guy who plays a lot of player props. Player
mhm,
props can be volatile. And you ladder them, right? I
right.
know certain people don't necessarily call it laddering, or taking them at whatever FanDuel specifically has them set at, whatever that line is, and then also taking them, to go 5 points higher, or 10 points higher than that, and those odds increase, of course, because the likelihood of that player, reaching that feat it gets more difficult, of course, right? So you're a guy who not only play plays those player props, but you hit at a really good rate. So I wanted you specifically to kind of chime in and talk about the importance of units management when you're taking a guy to go three, to hit all three of those milestones on a certain night. Like, talk to the people about why that's so important.
So for one, unit gambling is, if you don't do it, do it. That's just off jump. I honestly I didn't start, like when I first started gambling. I did not start using unit gambling. So I had to learn about it myself. And then when you learn about it and you start doing it, you actually really see the profit that you make versus, you know what I mean, just putting in 20, putting in 10. You're not really seeing that long-term profit coming in. It's also a very good tool to use as far as discipline, right? So you know that one unit and you're not gonna go over that one unit. You know what I mean? So that's first and foremost. Using unit gambling, it really teaches you discipline when gambling, because that's a huge part of gambling. A lot of people just be throwing out numbers, and especially if you're in a position like me and you know what I mean? You got a bunch of people telling you, and you just throwing out numbers. You know what I mean? So that's one, first and foremost. And then the other huge part of unit gambling, to be honest, is is just keeping track. Just keeping track. It's super easy to keep track of it. It is time consuming, but honestly, just same thing. Going back to profit. Like when you're keeping track of stuff, first and foremost, I want to say if you're in a Discord and you're paying for a service, you should absolutely expect for that service to keep track of what you're putting in, right? So that's the biggest thing for me, unit gambling. A lot of people always ask, one of the biggest questions when it comes to unit gambling is what should my one unit be, or what should I put on this? And I can't answer that for you. You're the only person that knows your bankroll, right? But what I will say is, get a set amount, price point in your head, um, and use that set amount and don't go over it. So meaning, if your bankroll is $1,000, I would suggest 10 dollars be your one unit, right? Because you got to think, and people think that's small, but it's really not, right? And it's a marathon, right? So it's a long process. Like this is you you're not gonna get rich overnight with it. Like if that was the case, a lot of us would be rich, right? So that's number one, and then two, right? It really has to do with money management, right? So have a set amount of limit of how many units you're putting out that night or that day or that week, and stick to that. So that just goes back to the discipline. So it really takes discipline. I know it's definitely easier said than done. Sometimes I challenge myself, on a day-to-day basis. A lot of people, they'll lose and they'll try to win it right back. Like, nah, man, never chase a win. That's the worst thing you could do in a gambling. Uh, if you're gambling, like never chase a win, because 9 times out of 10 it's gonna turn out bad. I mean, so yeah, that's what I got for you to gambling.
Yeah, Naz, I think you hit on a lot of things that, I've talked about, like, just in the spaces in general, wanting to make sure everybody is, just like using their money, taking it serious, and also just not throwing away money, right? Like the sports book get rich when, they see these long parlays all the time, and when people chase losses, they get even richer, you know what I mean?
And,
Because you haven't done as much research, and
right,
you just want to try to get some of your money back, you know what I mean? So yeah, it really takes that discipline for real, for real, for real, for real. And that's
it,
something that I think we all kind of struggle with in the
it,
beginning, you know?
it's really easier to said than done. Like for real, especially if you lose. A lot of times, what I do is, with NBA, it's a little tough because odds fluctuate all the time. But a lot of times, what I kind of preach is to bet it on the early games and kind of wait on the later games. So like NBA, some games start at 7, right? If you have a bunch of plays for 7, don't even put anything on the 10:30, 10 o'clock games until you hit early on that 7 o'clock game. I mean, so that's just kind of a way to save, especially if you didn't hit anything yet. Now, if you hit, oh yeah, go ahead, play something on that 10 o'clock, or go ahead, do a live bet. You know what I mean? But if you didn't, really manage your money and manage that bankroll.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. All excellent insights, and I feel like you saying all the things that I say all the time, right? So yeah, we definitely align on that for sure. Transition is I want to talk to you a little bit about your capping process, and I know that for the person who just got sports gambling legalized in their state, last month or 3 months ago or 2 months ago or whatever the case might be, they haven't bet on NBA basketball, or maybe they bet NBA basketball last year and they weren't successful as they wanted to be, right? Like they cool working their full-time job, but if they can make a little extra bread consistently on sports betting, where they not having to upload and re-up their account all the time,
Right.
they might be here for the capping process. So talk to the people a little bit about like what do you look for, right? Take the people behind the curtain just a tad bit and talk to them about how you handicap these games, especially for somebody who is so successful in the player prop market.
Yeah, so big. So first and foremost, everybody does it a different way. So don't take my way as the right way and the only way to do it, right? If you got a way that's working for you, stick to that, right? Um, don't change up if it's winning. Don't don't fix something that's not broken, right? But for me, one of the very first things I do is look at matchups, right? Tonight, for instance, right? There's a 9 game slate. I'm not betting on all 9 games. I'm gonna look at the teams and I'm gonna look at what matchup fits best, right? So when I say matchup, what team has weakness on guarding small forwards versus the opposing team, just things of that nature, right? And then you really analyze, you really dig deep, player history, player tendencies. You really gotta do your research. That's a huge part of Cappinn. Do that research and dig deep into it. And a lot of times people look at the last game or the last stretch of games, and you got to go further than that, right? You got to go back to tendencies. When I say tendencies, that's years back. Even the player they're about to go up against, look at their last game on how that small forward did versus them. You know what I mean? And then just like looking ahead of time. So like what I'll do is a lot of times I'm watching a game. I'm not even necessarily watching for the prop that I put out that day, because whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, right? I'm analyzing, okay, what can I bet on the future games? Who are they playing next? Who are they playing next week? You know what I mean? So I already got dates circled on a calendar of when who's playing what, narratives. A lot of people play huge on narratives. I'm not a huge narrative guy, but certain narratives matter, right? So, for instance, I'll give you a gem. Ben Matherin on the Pacers, right?
Oh yeah.
Summer, you probably know during the summer he said something after he got drafted. He said something like Bron got to show me he the best or something like that, right?
This dude confidence through the roof.
I love that, you know what I mean? But I know Bron saw that. I know for a fact Bron saw that. Bron also said he likes playing in Indiana. I don't know who likes playing in Indiana, but he liked playing in Indiana. But I know Bron saw that, right? And I know the Pacers play in Staples Center, not even Staples. What's it called now? It's
Crypto.com arena.
Crazy they changed that, but
Yeah,
crypto,
tell me
uh,
about it.
Pacers play crypto. They played it at November. I think it's like November 28th. So already that's circled in my calendar.
Okay.
Like just had that mindset of futures, right? So when you watching a game specifically, yeah, you're obviously watching to hit your plays, hit your player props or whatever, but also just keep in mind what's this team weakness, what's this team tendencies, just to think ahead. You know what I mean? That's definitely a key that I do, like especially these preseason games. Just knowing, not even I don't care. A lot of time honestly, if you've been following me, I don't really care about the starting five or the star players. Star players gonna be star players. They're gonna do what they need to do, right? It's about the role guys. It's about the guys that's coming off the bench. The from the seventh man down, know the entire roster, right? Know their tendencies. So it's much deeper than just the surface. But I will say it's definitely a learning aspect as well as a teachable aspect. And I try to preach it in my Discord a lot, just to help them out. Because yeah, tell me, of course, I want to help you win money, but I also want you to be able to do it yourself. So it's just a teachable moment.
Yeah, for sure. Zay. Okay, I mean, if you watch that, you might have to watch it again because you dropped some gems in there for
Yeah,
sure. Zay. Like that
I'm about
that's hard to process all at the same time. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I
yeah.
mean, it's recorded, so you guys can definitely go back and watch
Let
the
me
video
let me
again if you need to. I was
another one.
gonna ask you, Zay. I was gonna ask you for a specific resource, like what, like you talk about like going back and looking at the tendencies, right? What if people don't know how like what's the easiest, most accessible way for people to go back and check their tendency? What give the people a resource you got?
I would say the most I won't even say the most useful, but the most basic, the most user friendly way is StatsMuse. Easy, and a lot of people they don't take advantage of it. I would say like it's super easy, super user friendly. I do have this app. I forgot the name of it. I'm gonna have to tweet it out, but it's this app. I personally pay for it. But you don't have to pay for it. But when you pay for it, like you get more perks with it. But pretty much what it does is it gives you a percentage of how much the public has on a specific play or on a specific team, right? And I don't know if y'all noticed, but like I'm Mr. Fade the Boost now. So I definitely pay attention to stuff like that. Not too deep, to where if I love a prop, I'm gonna play that prop, whether I don't care who's on it at the end of the day. If I've done the digging on it and I love it, I'm gonna play it. And one thing I didn't mention, Chris, you could attest to this. I'm not analytics. Like I'm not, right. I'm more of eye test, but at the same time, you need analytics, right? Because that plays a huge part. But a lot of people say, some people be like, no research, just straight vibes, right? Good luck. Like it's a good,
Right.
it's a
Gotta
good
find that sweet
basketball
spot, right?
question. Yeah, you gotta find that sweet spot. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna say one outweighs the other, but you could do all the research, do all the analytics, but if you don't watch, then you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, no, that's a
Yeah.
fact. I think just hearing you say that, it makes me go back to to the spaces, and certain people, like they just enjoy their team a lot, and
Yeah.
it might be a good team, right? And but it don't mean that you can take that team every single night, like, and you see that, right? So that's why I get into, like, the trends of how teams do as a dog, how do they do as a favorite.
Mhm.
Look at them, how do they do after they lose, right? Like, we got these really strong teams. We saw the Boston Celtics be one of them last year,
Right.
right? Almost like you could literally, I don't know how many units you would have been up, but I know they went like 12-2. Like, they didn't lose two games in a row for like what, like 4 months, right? Like,
Yeah, I
it
was
was a
about to
long.
say like at least after the my boy RJ hit that buzzer beater, it just a
It was
switch.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
over, bro. And I remember that game. I remember telling myself I wasn't betting on Boston anymore after they lost that game, bro. I'll never forget that day. I was at
Yeah.
my mother-in-law house, and I ended up coming back to the crib, and
Yeah.
the Celtics were up like what, 20, 30 points in the Garden. And yeah, I don't want to relive that, Zay, but you know what I mean,
Yeah.
though. You know
Yeah.
exactly what I mean, right?
It's-
Like,
being that you just said that, I didn't bring it up, but I have a blacklist, right? And a blacklist is players or teams that I will not touch. I will not touch. You have a blacklist?
I I do have a small blacklist, but I can't even remember the players that's on it. I
Yeah.
would have to, like, in my notes section in my phone,
Yeah.
like, I use my notes section heavily. Like, I got
No,
a note for everything from
yeah.
groceries to, like, every single day that I cap the games. I'm
Yeah.
writing stuff down all the time. Like you said, player tendencies. I got a calendar, like you said, of matchups that I'm looking forward to,
Mhm.
whatever the case might be. So I am, like, just always in my notes section. And
Yeah.
I definitely got the calendar too. I wanted to mention that. I kind of glossed over that a little bit, but you gave the people a gym with Matherin, and when he go to LA. And this is super confident guy. Like,
Mhm.
he got the
Super,
bunnies. Like, he has the potential to
super tough.
be, right, one of the best two guards in the league.
He
Eventually his time
I'm
gonna come. I think
rookie
he's gonna
of
be
the year.
start. I think he's gonna be. Yeah, I think he's gonna be starting out the gate too. So,
I think he should.
but Zay, I think what I was looking at was when Halliburton go back to Sacramento, right? Like,
Yeah, that too.
that's one I got circled,
That's
because he was expecting to be the guy. He was
right,
extremely emotional about being traded. Thought he
right.
was gonna be the franchise. Talked about
Yeah,
potentially playing there for the rest of his career, and they ship him off, and
yeah.
it affected him a lot. He's an
Mhm.
extremely professional type guy too, right? He's gonna bring it no matter what team he's on, no matter how many losses they have. He always looking to win.
He a
He's a
dog.
competitor, right? He a dog. Yeah, he a
He a
dog.
dog.
So I was thinking about that's another gem. I'll just
Yeah,
throw that one out there,
yeah.
right? Like,
Mhm.
but it's so many of them, right? That we can kind of create, and just based on narrative, based on what was
That point
said,
of
based on
time,
previous performance. Like, it's just a lot, bro. It's definitely a lot. But I think
Oc
you talk. Go
October
ahead, go ahead.
21st, we got one quick. October 21st, uh, Murray versus Banchero.
Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. That's what you want to circle on the calendar, right? If you guys, if you've been paying attention, then you know what happened in the summer league,
Mhm.
right, when they was out in Seattle. So yeah,
Bones
that's
Bones
gonna be
Bones
one.
Highland versus Goodwin. Like people not gonna pay attention or remember these type of things, right? But I remember all that. I'm a guru, and if I don't, I'm gonna have it on my notes. One of the good things, always put stuff on your notes and just look back. Like, I'm not gonna remember everything, but if I look back at my notes, I'm gonna remember that Bones Highland and Goodwin threw a punch at him in some league or whatever. And yeah, Goodwin may not be starting or playing against him, but if he on that bench, best believe Bones Highland is going. He's gonna try to cook, because I know I will.
Bones. Shout out to my guy Bones, alma
Yeah,
mater, bro. He went to VCU.
yeah,
I went to VCU too. So yeah, that's my guy.
yeah.
That's my guy for
That's
sure.
drums, man.
Love Bones, bro. Yeah, for sure. And it's a lot of them. We could go
Mhm.
through a lot of them for sure, but I think those are good ones to start. And then the listener, encourage you guys to go through and create your own calendar. You know what I
Right,
mean? Circle your own dates. You know what I mean? Especially if it's teams that beat other teams, like in the playoffs, and you want to get that revenge because you beat me last year. Now it's our turn to step up, and we got to take that next step because my last game of the season was against you.
right.
And you gotta, like you said, you gotta keep up with what's going on too. I was listening to Jalen Brown talk about the shoes that he lost game 6 in against Golden State, playing in those shoes every single time. He did a workout, a practice, a run, anything. He said those shoes are dusted now, right?
Yeah,
But he wants those shoes on his feet because every time he looked down, he know
yeah.
that's gonna motivate him to go
Right.
harder, right? Like that's what you're looking for. Those are the guys that you
Well,
want
I saw that.
that you want to
I
be on.
saw that, and I was like, "How am I gonna know if he got them shoes on?"
Right.
I noticed that though. Yeah,
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. But yeah, I think we did a pretty good job. I think you like you said, you tweet out the other resource, but StatMuse is a really, like you said, a really fundamental one that's easy to use for a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like it's so much information within StatMuse too. It's not just looking at this player's points the last time that they played against this team. It's you could do so much with StatMuse. So I'd encourage people just to go through StatMuse and just to look at all the different things as well.
I
And
will.
I think that segment was super helpful too. There.
I will also last point. I will also say, just beat writers. Just really follow beat writers. I think you mentioned that in one of your spaces before, but really just follow beat writers. They're not always 100% accurate, but you could read between the lines and pick up on certain things that they're putting out. Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. If you guys don't know, like Zay said, I tweeted it out, the beat writers list. I've also since then though, because I'm a real like type A type person. I like to know where my stuff at and I'm structured and organized, right? Like
yeah.
it's to a T. I got like a slight case OCD. So another resource, I'll tell you guys this. I haven't shared this yet, but somebody tweeted me after I had that space a couple of weeks ago. They said, dang, it'd be nice if like we had one per team so we don't have to go through the whole thing. So if you're listening right now, I'm gonna tell you this. I don't went through and made one per team. So everybody who covers the team, you could just go click on that team and get all the updated information. That's how I've been betting the preseason. The other day I was on, looking at a game and I'm looking at the line and I'm like, all right, let me check and see what the beat writer's saying because it's preseason. I saw
Mhm.
that I clicked on the Phoenix Suns one. The beat writer for Phoenix was like, yo, they're not playing Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton sitting out, Mikal Bridges sitting out,
Well,
Campaign sitting out. Let me get the Kings. Let me get the Kings plus the 1.5 and get Kings on the money line. They won. You know what I mean? Like just based,
yeah,
even though Keegan Murray wasn't there. So those beat writers are extremely important. And I would definitely encourage you guys to go check those beat writers list out. You can follow them if you want to, but they're always gonna be there. I'm gonna keep them public. I'm not gonna make them private. But that's another great, free tool for you guys as well. Just kind of knowing you have to get the information. That's
right.
what I think. The more information you get, the higher the percentage of you actually being able to find an edge. And that's what we're looking for, right? We're looking for an edge when we're betting. We 17.5 points. Well, they could land on 17 or they could get 18, right? What's the difference between the two, right? If you
Mhm.
know that there's some edge, motivational factor, like you said, maybe this guy threw a punch, maybe this guy wasn't drafted by this team and he thought he should have been drafted, or whatever the case might be, you want to take that over, right? But
Right.
on the other side, on the flip side, if this guy's coming off, third game in 4 nights, it's the last game of a road trip. He can't wait to get back home because this team is garbage, right? You might want to look at the under, right? Like, so it's just taking all the information, being able to analyze it, and then you can put your play in, right? But having that reason for why, right? Whether you're taking an over or under, right? So I think we did a good job there
Yeah.
wrapping that
Yeah.
up for sure.
It was a lot of gems dropped. A lot of
For
knowledge
sure.
drop. I hope they took
For
it.
sure. For sure. So Zay, now I want to transition to this. What early looks you got, man? I know you've been looking at the card already. Like I don't think we have, at least to my knowledge, we don't have player props drop for even for the Thursday,
I
even for the
wait.
Tuesday
No,
games, right? Not
no,
yet, right?
not yet. And I cannot wait to see these lines. I I I literally go to sleep and just look on FanDuel every single night before I go to sleep.
Hey,
Like,
bro, the
what
funny thing
the
is, it's not just you. It's a bunch of us doing that, bro.
yeah,
It's a bunch of us doing that.
yeah. I wish that there was an app to alert us because
I was thinking the same thing.
one of the things that does suck is lines tank. And I dealt with that a couple times last season where it's like I love a prop and a line tank. And honestly, I've come to the conclusion where if you love it, still take it. Still take it.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, plus 1,200 and plus 800, that's still great odds. You know what I
Those
mean?
are
So,
amazing odds.
yeah, amazing odds, so don't sell yourself short because
You didn't get
somebody
the best of the number.
yeah, you
Yeah.
didn't you know what I mean? That happened to me once before, and I told myself I wasn't gonna do it again. It was a max ladder that cash too, and I was pissed. Yeah, I was pissed. My yeah, I was definitely blown. I was I was definitely blown. But yeah, so don't sell yourself short on that. But I'm definitely looking forward to odds, bro. Not gonna lie to you.
Yeah. Let's talk through that real quick, Zay. What
Mhm.
do you think? Like, what do we anticipate, right? Like, so we got we got the Boston Celtics and we got the Philadelphia 76ers. We know that the Boston Celtics made a bunch of, well, the Boston Celtics didn't make a bunch of moves. They did bring in Malcolm Brogdon, but the Philadelphia 76ers, they beefed up that bench that was it hurt them last year. And
Right.
I think from my perspective, I think that they got a lot tougher bringing in guys like
Mhm.
PJ Tucker and bringing in a guy like Montrezl Harrell. That's what they needed when they were fighting against a team like
Yeah.
Miami,
Yeah.
who had PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker was out there bullying James, right?
Right.
He was doing his thing. Like he was able to slow down Mash Joel Embiid for just a
Right.
tad bit, right? So what, like, do you have you even anticipated what you think those lines will be and what you think is playable at all?
I did, right? It's the first game of the season, so I mean, and it's the thing with that, right? It's only 2 games. It's
Mm-hmm.
only 2 games, and a lot of times it's tough to choose two when 2 or 1 game is on. It's like everybody's kind of going to be on the same type of prop, which is okay. I'm not saying that's an issue or anything like that, but it's like you're not going to see that much happen. 2 things happen on the first game of the season. It's either no defense and high scoring, or it's low scoring because nobody's in rhythm. And what
Mm-hmm.
I will say about the Celtics and Philly is that the Celtics, they're ready to roll. Everything I've seen from preseason, from interviews, them boys is hungry. They don't like how they went out. They felt like they should have won. They felt like they was the better team overall, and them boys is ready to boots on the ground and go. Whereas Philly on the other end, they still building somewhat chemistry. Got a lot of new guys in, like you said. I will say their bench definitely got deeper. Just watch
Yeah.
preseason games, the bench is definitely better. But as far as odds, it's tough, man. It's tough. I can't wait to see it. I'm in my head. I'm thinking we smack Tyrese Maxey threes quick, just off the jump. That boy, mark my word, he gonna be the Sixers' second leading scorer
Yeah. I believe it. You
around
could
two.
you could just see the growth in his game, like over the off season. You could tell he been in the gym. Like you could
Yeah,
tell who been in the gym and who hasn't been in the gym.
right.
I don't know if y'all got a chance to see my
Who?
boy Tyrese Halliburton. Well, I mean not Tyrese Halliburton. Tyler Horton Tucker, who is on Utah right now. The boy didn't gain about 70 pounds, but that ain't what the show about. But you know what I mean? Like you can just tell
Yeah,
who been in the gym
yeah.
and who been in the buffet. You know what I mean? And to see Slim Harden, you know what I mean? Like it's gonna look different. And doing your homework, which is why I held myself accountable over the off seasons by making sure I said, yo, I'm gonna do these team previews. And
Yeah,
that was the accountability, right? Like I put the schedule out, and if I'm a man of my word, if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So that
Go.
held me accountable to make sure I did my homework, I did all the research. So I'm like you said, I'm ready to hit the ground running too, bro. And,
Yeah,
and but to go back to what you were saying, Jose, your perspective is interesting because while I agree with you, right, I think that Boston is ready. I think that they are hungry.
hmm
You don't seem as concerned with the everything that happened as far as the turmoil of, like, you
no,
have the hangover, right? Not even everything with Udoka. I'm gonna get there, but like you
okay,
got the hangover of, like, getting to the championship and
yeah,
losing, right? And those teams typically, they take a step back and they're not able to make it the following year, right? We saw this for
Miami,
whatever reason, because we saw it with Miami.
yeah,
We saw with the Bucks, right? Like
yeah,
the Bucks didn't make it back after
Suns,
winning the championship, right? Right. Like so you just see those teams go down. But I'm in agreement with you, right? Like while I'm playing devil's advocate to what you're saying, I'm in agreement with you that when Jalen Brown said he in the best shape of his life, I'm
man,
I'm listening. I'm
man.
listening.
I watched the interview. That boy wasn't even smiling. He locked in. Like he locked in. And I'm a huge Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum fan. Like, but them boys are some dogs. They locked in. They ready to go. And I know you said we'll briefly discuss the Ime Udoka situation. But I,
Yeah,
I
what's your thoughts? How you think that impact the team, and if so, like what like who does it impact? Like what you thinking?
I don't think it's gonna impact as much. So two big situations, right? Um, appreciate you, Corey. Two big situations, right? Draymond Green punching pool, right? That's way more of a big impact because that's gonna affect the camaraderie with the team. This situation, the Celtics are already a well-oiled machine. They're gonna function. They already got systems in place. They have everything in place, and all they just did is bring in veterans. Blake Griffin was a great signing. That man looked like he in the best shape of his career, right? Malcolm Brogdon was a great signing. Can you imagine having to get out the game after Marcus Smart guarding you? You think he going on the bench? You see Malcolm Brogdon come out with Derek White? Come on, man. No point guard wants to go against them. That's just it. So they're gonna be perfectly fine. They're gonna be perfectly fine. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I agree with that. The only thing I'll add is that I do think that, they may struggle on the defensive end just a tad bit without Robert Williams, without having Time
yeah.
Lord back there because, he got pushed back. His return got pushed back like a whole
Saw
nother
that.
month. So
I
it
saw
went
that.
from a month to 2 months to 2 months to 3 months. And I think I was looking at the numbers earlier, just running some SDQL stuff, and
Mhm.
they're significantly worse
Yeah,
ATS. I know you don't take a lot of ATS bets, but against the spread, they're significantly worse when he doesn't play.
yeah,
Teams are averaging like 5 more points. I think it went from like
right.
102 to like 107,
Yeah,
the games that he played last year versus the games that he didn't play. So all of those things will be interesting for sure. Real quick, I want to address you getting some love. You see the love that you're getting
yeah,
in the
yeah.
in
I
the
see the
chat
love.
too, Zay.
Yeah, I appreciate
But yeah,
y'all, man.
JC. So he said, "Hey Chris, where can I find the beat reporter list? Loving the content." So JC, if you go to my Twitter page and click in the top right corner the three dots, it'll say view list, and then you can go through all the lists that I got. I got a bunch of lists on there from NBA beat reporters to NBA players. I probably need to go through update the NBA players. I like to like Zay said, I like to have as much information as I possibly can. So I'm if it's the middle of the, if a team got a game the next day and they're on the second night of a back to back, I want to see how long they staying up, right? If they tweeting at 2:15 in the morning, I might not that might not be somebody I'm looking to
Right.
take. You know what I mean? Especially if it's something crazy, something wild, they not locked in. Like so it's it's NBA players uh list is every single team now. I mentioned that already. I went through and did every single team, found beat writers, people calling the games for the team, anybody that could be helpful. All those lists are there for you guys. So definitely utilize those for sure. I think that's gonna be helpful for sure too. But going back, Zay, getting back to what we were kind of talking about already. We also got another game, right? We discussed that we slightly discussed the Philly game, in Boston, and I think we both could chime in a little bit more. Philly got smacked last time they played Boston
Yeah.
Tuesday. Like
I,
I think they lost by 30,
yeah.
right?
I forgot to mention. Tatum and Embiid are good friends. They're good friends. They always work out on the off season together or whatever. Um, but I will say Tatum's average is like, I want to say off the top of my head, probably like 29, probably pushing 30 a game versus Philly. Like he legit goes at him, and gets the best of him 9 times out of 10. So on top of that,
Yeah.
Tatum is that guy. I think he's gonna have a MVP season. So it's definitely something to look at.
Yeah, absolutely, Zay, absolutely. I think Jalen Brown is also another guy that kind of feels like he's been, riding the coattail of Jason Tatum, and we definitely saw a different Jalen Brown last year. I've been a guy that's been high on Jalen. I like Jalen a lot, but there was a lack of consistency. I think if you go through and look at the numbers, like he had these games where he scored 27, 28
Yeah,
points, but then he also have a game where he scored 16. Right. And
yeah,
if his player prop sitting at 23 and a half, then you lost on one and you won on one,
right,
right? Because of the inconsistent. I just feel like towards the end of the season, he became a lot more consistent with his game, shooting a very high percentage. He's extremely efficient,
yeah,
defends well, right? But it'll be interesting though, Zay, to see how locked in the Boston Celtics are at the beginning of the season, right? Because that's a big part of it as well, right? And I don't know if you saw this or not, Zay, but I was looking at the shop, LeBron HBO series, right? And he was talking about he actually they talked about being dogs, right? And coming from nothing, right? Like him and PJ Tucker, and of course Braun was on there, and they asked Draymond, like is it, do you find yourself in a situation where like it's difficult for you to get up for games and you're like, man, like I don't want to guard Braun
yeah.
today,
I
right?
yeah,
And he said nah. He was like, yo, like it's honestly it's harder for me to get up when I'm playing against the suck teams. Man, we got
yeah.
the Kings tonight. We got OKC. Like those I gotta be a dog against that team. Like that's more challenging and difficult for me, right?
Right.
Because I don't feel like that should be needed. Somebody else should step up and
And you could tell.
and
You could
right.
tell.
You can
You could
mhm.
tell.
Right. So I think I'm gonna just be watching Boston really closely to
Yeah.
see, one, how much they impacted on the defensive end, and what, it's gonna be. You can't really replace Tom Lloyd. He's the best defensive center in the league. I think we all kind of agree on that. But collectively, like, how do they do it, right? Like, how does Blake Griffin do? Do you try to manage Al Horford's minutes because he's, a year older this year, right? And going into what seems like his, 40th season, right? Like, this kid came a long way since he was playing in Florida with Corey Brewer. You know what I mean? So
Oh, I
that,
remember. Yeah.
yeah, so all of those things will be interesting for sure. Zay. But transition. Let's move on to the last game before I get you out of here. We also get the Lakers, right? Who we get the Lakers and Golden State on ring night, right? And it's another game that's really difficult to cap, right? We see the drama going on with Westbrook.
Both
We
teams.
we and it was just reported, like, as of like 45 minutes before we started this
Gone.
podcast, that the Lakers, they ramped up the, the urgency of getting Westbrook out, and, kind of going back into those conversations with probably the Pacers is what I'm thinking, but trying to get him moved, right? And we don't know if these are false reports or not, but somebody putting these out, right? And
Right.
that's not the turmoil you want when you trying to win a championship at the beginning of the season. And then everything that happened with Golden State too, right? Is ring night. Ring
Mm,
night is typically a letdown night, right? Because you get the hungry dog that's coming in saying, "I want what you got," right? And the team that's being celebrated might take their foot off the gas. You
mhm.
also get Clay. Clay hasn't he didn't even scrimmage until yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Like, he
Yeah.
hasn't really been doing anything, right? I
He's
think he's
under.
going to try to play tonight. Right, right,
He's,
right. And if you
I'm
know,
not
you know, because
touching.
I was cashing on Clay unders throughout the
Yeah. Yeah.
finals last year,
Yeah.
because I really like the matchup with those guards, kind of slowing him down and him not being able to, get his shot too much. I thought Boston was doing a good job, but
Yeah.
switching to pick and roll, and, hedging when they needed to, and everybody being able to kind of move left and right, and, be able to cover him. So all of that said, though, Zay, then on top of that, we got Draymond knocking people out, important people out, right?
Right.
I know some people
Hey,
that was like, "Yo, why couldn't he have just hit like somebody else that
right.
didn't really mean that much,
Come
right?"
on, man.
Like, but you got Draymond knocking people out, so that's another game that's difficult to cap from an ATS perspective, right? The Lakers can't make 3-pointers. At one point in the game the other day against the Timberwolves, they went through a stretch where they missed 16 straight threes, and
Mm.
the Timberwolves were without Anthony. They were without Karl Anthony Towns
Yeah.
and Rudy Gobert, right? So yeah, like, we got spacing issues, which we know, it doesn't take a rocket science to tell you this, but
Mhm.
yo, if you ever seen LeBron play, he needs shooters, right? He does so many things great, but
Yeah.
like, his best asset is probably his ability to be able to pass the ball.
Yeah. For
Somebody got
sure.
to be able to knock the shots down. So
For sure.
what are you thinking about this game? You got any anticipated lines, eh? Like, where you think Steph points drop at? Like, what we
Um,
doing with Clay? Like, what's up?
what I noticed, honestly, what I noticed with Steph lines, recently, like before he went on a crazy finals run, they were pretty low. Like they were pretty. I think I want to say it was like 27, 26, and honestly, that's a little low for Steph. One, I'm telling you right now, Steph and Poole, they're probably both gonna put up 25 plus. Clay, he hasn't played all preseason. He just started scrimmaging, like you said. So he definitely gonna be struggling. And then I'm just pissed that Draymond did that to the second best player. Jordan Poole was the second best player on the Warriors. So for him to do that, it's just crazy to me. So I definitely I can't wait to see those lines. And then with the Lakers, man, they're done, man. They're
We cooked already, Zay.
not cooked, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. How do you have a team full of non-shooters? Everybody on the team, first of all, there's no person on the team who shoots over 40%. Braun, like you said, he needs shooters. Every team he's had elite shooters, right? Mike Miller, Ray Allen, J.R. Smith. I don't care what you say about J.R. Smith. J.R. Smith's elite shooter, right? He needs shooters. There's nobody on that team that can do that, right? I think Russ needs to go. And they need to just go ahead, they burnt the bridge, just let it fall under. Like just start rebuilding. Um, I think Golden State obviously will be the favorites. They'll probably be heavy favorites. I wish it was a better team facing them because even though Golden States are the favorites, I would probably dabble on whoever's facing them. It's just the Lakers. Like I'm not touching.
Yeah, it almost makes it impossible to touch, right?
Yeah,
Because,
I'm not.
like I said, you want to kind of fade that team, especially with, the chemistry issues. Even though they won the championship, but You know, Draymond didn't even look, extremely comfortable, having the interview yesterday. Like I watched that
Right.
too, right? Like he was talking, of course, but yeah, of course, and these lines have been out forever, right? Like these
Yeah.
lines have been out forever at this point, and
Jalen. Don't do
the
my man
the
Jalen like that.
I will say this: they since Draymond turned into Floyd Mayweather, that line for that game has, I want to say that opened at 7
Yeah.
and now it's down to 6. So you can get the Lakers +6, total sitting at 227.5. I'm looking at FanDuel right now. Um
I don't know, but I personally do not touch money line during the season. The only way I bet on a team outcome is if I'm taking a PBD. Other than that, I'm not touching money line. I'm not touching spread. I'm not touching over under. Which, by the way, I hate over under. After preseason, I'd be doing math. I'm literally like play prop, play prop.
Well,
It's too. It's
that
too.
was one of the reasons that I really wanted you to come on because I play player props. I
Yeah,
don't typically do ladders like you. Like
yeah,
I'm real cautious, right? Like I'm
yeah,
trying to hit and I'm trying to get out, right? Everything
yeah,
else is like,
yeah,
damn, I should have bet that too, right?
yeah,
But I do like, I like to dabble in, all of the markets, right? And whatever the research that I do shows me as far as like totals with teams playing on, back to backs, or even if it's preseason or whatever the case might be, if I can find the edge, I'm trying to take advantage of it no matter what it is, right? So that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to come on, because you are, a lot more successful at, the whole ladder of, taking this player to
yeah.
get this points and these and this, or assists and rebound. I remember I remember we chopped it up just shortly about Tatum, his assists. You remember that?
Yeah.
Game 1?
Yeah, and I did that. Yeah,
Game 1 of the finals.
yeah,
Yeah. I didn't do it. You did it. Yeah.
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 Uh-huh. Yeah, I
I
think he
remember
had
that.
like 12. I think he had like 12 assists. Yeah, and we got it like it was probably like plus 1,700 or something like that. Like, yeah, 10 assists. Yeah, you smacked that whole ladder. One thing, it's my bad. I did not mention when unit gambling. A key to that is the ladder system. Unit gambling works perfect with the ladder system, right? You put one unit on the over, which your overs, whatever the amount is typically around minus 104, 108, whatever, right?
105.
So
Yeah, something like that.
you're making pretty much what you put in, you're making it back damn near, right? So if you already hit that, they're most likely gonna go ahead and hit that middle ladder, which the middle ladder tends to be around plus 260 to plus 380, something like that, right? And then so on and so forth, right? The top of the top ladder would be anything over 900 to the 1000s, right? So if you hit the first two, you that's good. You've doubled your profit, whether you hit the max ladder or not. So and that's one of the keys to unit gambling. So you'll put one unit on the over, then you'll do 0.5 and you'll do 0.5, which I definitely forgot to mention. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And if you ever been in a Discord, hopefully that's been shared. But if you've been in Zay Discord, I know that that's something that you definitely telling the
Yeah.
people for sure too. Hey Zay, this been dope, bro. I appreciate you jumping
Yeah.
on with me, man. I
Anytime,
feel
bro.
like, we've been on for almost 45 minutes, but it feel like
Yeah.
we've been on for like like
Right.
10, 15. So
I can talk hoops
this is
all
dope,
day, so
bro.
it's like
Absolutely,
yeah, nah,
absolutely,
for
bro.
sure.
Same. But before we get out of here, Zay, we so just to recap, we went over unit management. We talked about resources that we like, as far as like, just sharing with the community, make the next person who may not have those resources, may not be privy to all those different things. We talked about beat writers lists and all those different things as well. And we kind of looked ahead. We don't, for Zay, he doesn't typically have, well, for Zay right now, he doesn't have lines on player props that he likes. So, nothing official was given out. And I kind of talked about how difficult it is to bet both of these games from a size perspective, right? Like the whole Boston thing versus the 76ers and all the turmoil with both the Lakers and the Warriors. So nothing official in this show, but definitely look out for official plays. I'm gonna start
For
doing
sure.
shows on Monday. I'm gonna do a preview on Monday because we'll have more lines. We'll just have a little more solid base for sure. So
Yeah,
definitely look forward to those shows. The Twitter Spaces are going to continue
for sure.
5:15 Eastern time every single day. So definitely tap in with me there. This year it'll be a little more structured though. Last year we went for 2 hours, sometimes two and a
Yeah,
half hours. Sometimes we was pushing like halftime of the game, and I started 2 hours before.
yeah,
So definitely it'll be a little more structured as far as Just from a time perspective, I'll, definitely jump in, give out my plays, give out my analysis of why I like them. And then if you got plays, I always encourage everybody, iron sharp as iron. So if you guys got plays and you're doing your research, definitely feel free to request up, join the Twitter spaces. I'll give you the mic and, you can share your plays as well, but it will be limited, right? Like everybody won't be able to come up. I'll get in as many people as possible,
Right.
but, I want to give people time to digest the information. So it'll probably be we're probably looking at about an hour max, 5:15, about 6:15, no later than 6:30. That also gives people a chance, gives people 30-minute window, 30 to 45-minute window to go back and watch the
Right.
show, right? To be able to, jump in and kind of, take away what they want to as well. So yeah, but kind of wrapping up, Zay, tell the people where they can find you at. Tell the people about, anything that you want to promote. Clickety clack is I know it's probably filling up. But talk to the people, man. Tell them anything you want to share, Zay.
Yeah, man. At Zeta Goat, literally just put the Zay the Goat together. You find it. Clicky Clicky is definitely booming. We're about to ramp up, about to go crazy. I got a little surprise. You know what? I'll announce it for you, Chris. I'll announce the surprise.
Okay, what we got, Zay? Announcement
So
time. Okay.
yeah, I got a lot of good feedback when the last time I did a promo code for hitting 15,000 followers. I did a promo code, so I'm gonna do another promo code Monday. So just tune in Monday. I say about 12 p.m. 12 noon. I'm gonna drop a promo code, a lovely discount to get into the court. Just for NBA season. Yeah. So that's first and foremost. So definitely tune in. Make sure you tuning in for that. And then I do want to say, I wanted to point out 6:15 to 7 o'clock is when a lot of juicy odds come out, like the ones we've been waiting for. So just keep that in mind. That's another gem to highlight. And then I definitely thank you for having me on the space. I think what you're doing, you already know, bro. Like what you're doing is great for the community. I definitely got a ton of respect for you. And I'll definitely be looking forward to joining some of your spaces. I'll probably be doing about two, I promise, two a week. So if I'm not doing mine, I'm definitely probably
Yeah, you gotta let me know when you're doing your Tuesday so I can stop
yeah,
through, bro, for
yeah,
sure.
I got you.
For
I
sure,
got
bro. Yeah, but I
you.
appreciate you coming on, man. Like I said, just it's that time of the year where,
Right.
I always say, I've been saying this in my spaces and in the shows too. If you stay ready, you don't gotta worry about getting ready. You know what I mean? Like if your room typically clean, then you don't gotta go clean it because you just gotta pull that cover back for it, right? The bed made already, right? So and that's where we at now. That's where we at with it. This is like I
Mhm.
saw you tweet it earlier. I tweeted it earlier this week. This is the last week without basketball for 7 months, bro. So it's really time to lock
I'm so
in, get that
excited.
homework done, and
Christmas.
cash some tickets, bro. Yeah, yeah. No, when them player prop markets open, I know it's gonna be like Christmas for you, bro.
Woo! Can't wait, man.
Absolutely. But I appreciate you coming through, Zay. We'll definitely link up again and just kind of share the information with the people, man. But definitely follow my guy Zay on Twitter, man. Zay the Goat. Like the video as well. Share the video if you know people like you who are in the sports betting, specifically basketball. The season's right around the corner. And we all trying to make some money, man. We trying to cash,
Yes.
bro. That's really what it is. The NFL has been difficult and it's hard to pick and we don't even want to talk about the MLB. That's difficult and hard to pick as well. But it's grind time.
Yeah,
It's NBA time. It's NBA season, bro. So once again, I want to thank Zay for stopping through today. It's the
did it.
first NBA show, and a lot more to come. And I appreciate you guys for tapping in. And always tell a friend to tell a friend. We out.
Holla.